Just try. Try.
Hello, hello here.
Perfect.
Hello. Yeah.
Okay, great. So the floor is yours. You start. And we have also people online and everything is working. Okay. Ready? Perfect. Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Good. Good evening here in Riyadh. Good morning. Good afternoon, everyone. Watching us. Thank you for joining to this section, and we're gonna have a very insightful section between the Pan-African Youth Ambassador for Internet Governance, Internet Society Foundation, and ISOCAM Alumni Group. Today I have here Atanase Bahazire, who is from DLC Youth IGF. I also have Clary Van Zwitan from Internet Society Foundation. Sorry Nasafa will be joining us, and I also have Ida from also the East African region. We're going to talk about AI for multilingual inclusion. And before we start, we're going to have more discussion, which is practical. And we have some youth also here that we want to engage them and include them in this section. With the opening aspect of this section, we've seen so many challenges of expanding internet access and its availability in local content across many languages. Whilst working towards this in advancing human rights and inclusion in a digital age, AI for multilingual inclusion, we also discussed how internet can be expanded through greater languages and inclusion in all aspects of our work. Through the use of multilingual AI system, we can engage digitally isolated population, people who are isolated from the internet in terms of language barrier, grant them equal access to information. In this turn, we want to improve digital literacy and education efforts in making internet content available to everyone. And this has been a conversation Internet Society Foundation is working on their various internet governance programs, and PAYAC2 also working on that in terms of 5 languages. It's been a very awesome time to welcome my speakers here, and I will give them just one minute for them to introduce themselves. So looking at the online, I have Clary here. Clary, if you can hear me, just a minute, just introduce yourself, then I will move to Atanase. Then the rest will join us. Ida too is there. All right, thank you.
So I'll go first. Hi, everyone. My name is Claire von Zwieten. I am the alumni specialist at the Internet Society. I have the wonderful job of working with our alumni, 2 of which are there on the stage today, and also Ida, who is also here. Thank you so much for coming to this session, and I'm very excited for this exciting talk about how we can create more internet access for people who are not speaking the dominant languages of the internet. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Let me move to Atanase.
Thank you so much. I'm Atanas Baizere. I'm an Internet Society alumni, and I'm one of the facilitators of the Pan-African Youth Ambassador on Internet Governance. I'm an engineer by profession, and when it comes to the IGF ecosystem, I coordinate the youth IGF in the DRC. I'm very happy and looking forward to the discussion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Then Ida, if Ida is here. Ida. Okay. All right. So Ida will join us very soon, and we can start giving their remarks. I want to start from Atanase. You mentioned facilitator for Pan-African Youth Ambassador for Internet. Can you give a brief information about that? How multilingualism is focused on the training that you are doing at Pan-African Youth Ambassador for Internet Governance? Then we dive into the next question for Clary. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Selby. Okay, so basically, we have been seeing a rise of participation of different actors in the Internet Governance Forum and other Internet governance related activities. But we realized that there was a lack of meaningful participation from Africa. When we tend to look deeply into it, we realize that many African countries don't speak English, and non-English speaking countries, they tend not to be active in So we tried to play our part in the solution, and we came up with this initiative of the Pan-African Youth Ambassadors on Internet Governance. Basically, it has 5 cohorts with 5 different languages. The target is to train 1,000 young people per year within 5 different languages, so 200 per language. We have 5 cohorts, one from the Arabic cohort, the Portuguese cohort, the Swahili cohort, the English cohort, and the French cohort. So what is very unique in this program is that we have introduced some African languages that are only spoken in Africa, and some other languages that, not widely spoken, so that we build capacity of the different participants of the different African youth, so that they understand the stakes of the internet governance, and then we guide them through mentorship so they can join these discussions and be able to participate, and also can contribute locally to different IGFs in their different countries or region. So briefly, that's what is about the Pan-African Youth Ambassadors on Internet
Okay.
Governance.
All right. Thank you, Atanase, for highlighting on that. Clary, I want to ask you, want to move to you. Before people, the fellowship, the ambassadors of Internet Society could come out as an ambassador, I don't know. I know that they don't just come out like that. There's training. And I've seen some couple of training in also different languages Internet Society is working on in terms of closing that kind of barrier within languages and internet governance and other trainings. Can you also highlight on what Internet Society Foundation and Internet Society as a whole is doing in terms of training in multilingualism within the world? Thank you.
That's a great question. Thank you so much for asking. And at the Internet Society, as a global organization, we are committed to making sure that the internet is for everyone. That really is what we are striving for. And that is our goal. That's how we think. And the internet cannot be for everyone unless everyone has access to it and can read it. And of course, you cannot read the internet if you're not speaking the language of what is written. So at the Internet Society, we really do our best to include as much interpretation as possible when we communicate with our community. We do so in Spanish, French, Arabic when we can, and we're very committed to making sure that whenever we are speaking with our community or speaking with people beyond our community, we are providing them access to be able to understand what we are saying in the country, in the language they are most comfortable in. So we really try to walk the walk when it comes to multilingualism and the internet by providing as many interpretations options as we can do.
Okay, all right, thank you. Alejandro is also here, but today this session is not going to be panel discussion. It's going to be a group discussion as we are here. Before we go to the next discussion, we've seen this, that there are some AI language tools and AI system that is coming that we are training on large language models. I want to ask in the room so that we have the conversation with you before we come back to also that. In terms of language, communication with some of the AI tools like Google Bard, ChatGPT, which is very common. Have you tried communicating with these AI language models, AI tools with your local language, and how does it look like? Are you still limited to stuck with English because it can provide only the answers in English? Have you tried different languages with this AI tool? So if you have that knowledge, you can share with us. Yeah. You mentioned your name, your country, and your organization you are representing. Thank you.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Miriam from Kenya. I'm an ambassador in Payag under the Swahili cohort. So personally, I've interacted with ChatGPT. I use it all the time. But for Swahili, it's a bit tricky because even the basic like greetings, I'm supposed to ask you habari yako and then the response is njema. So for the AI, it really hallucinates. Gives you wrong answers and then you have to tell it, no, that is the wrong answer. And then the next time I ask you habari, you respond with njema. So for the Swahili, it's not really that good, but it's really doing well. Maybe not for the common, because greetings are different. Maybe in Kenya and Tanzania, they're a bit different, but generally Swahili, it's okay for me.
Okay, all right. So, okay, we have
My name is Abdur Rahman, and I'm from Lahore, Pakistan. Um, we have worked on with ChatGPT in Urdu and Punjabi. Urdu is a bit good, but in Punjabi it have some issues. We're trying to build a platform for local, uh, like daily wage earners like plumbers and those people to make their resume by speaking their Punjabi accent or Punjabi language. So that's a bit hard thing for OpenAI right now. That's my take on it.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Hello everyone, my name is Grace Ngijoy from Cameroon, and concerning local languages it's a little bit complicated with our country because we have more than 200 languages, local languages. So, but actually there's a young Cameroonian who's working on it, but he specialized on common languages with a youth with a at least with some majority like Ewondo, Basa, and Bamileke, because we have more people that come from that side. So, but it's not yet effective. But at least with the news that we are having from him, it's something that you can help us a lot in terms of communication with our local people.
Okay, all right, thank you. So Atanase, let me do we have anyone again? Okay, so we'll come back to another question. Atanase, let me go to this. We've seen the aspect of looking at how AI has been shifted among local languages. You mentioned Payak has 5 languages, Swahili, Arabic, Portuguese, English, and French. English is common, so that's the general that most AI language models are trained on. Now, I want to ask, and the same question will go to Clary, then Clary also explain perspective from the ISOC's side. We want to understand that in terms of this digital language divide, because we see there's a vast difference from English to the other 5 languages. How can we ensure that there is an equal AI technology access for all speakers in all languages?
It's a great question. And I think that that points to one of the most fundamental questions and challenges that we face is having data to train on. Is so much of the content on the internet is in English. And when AI systems need data to train on, many of the data sources they use are in English. So having ample data sources of other languages will be instrumental to making sure that we're able to use AI for multilingual inclusion on the internet. And I think that until we're able to gather enough data about every other language that we want, we'll be able to use the internet way more accessibly. But it's the biggest hurdle is really having LLMs being able to be trained on this data. So until we have more access and more content, we won't be able to do it.
Okay, all right. Atanase?
Thank you so much. Let me just give a bit of context. I told you I'm an IT engineer by profession, and there is some stuff we don't understand about AI. AI, basically, we say AI, artificial intelligence. Basically, it's the ability of the machine to mimic what the human brain can do, the task we can do. And we have seen a wide hype of AI now with the LLMs, the language models. And we think that AI is something that is just coming now, but we have been having AI systems from long ago, and they are still developing. And something Claire just mentioned, very important. For us to have AI models, we need to have data. It's just like a human being. For you to start speaking, you need to listen. After listening, okay, you understand, you learn, then you can speak, then you can deliver. It's the same with AI. It has to learn from the data and then deliver. So there is this, when it comes to multiple languages, and there is this divide we have, that we think many of our languages are not documented, and that because they can only deliver, AI systems can only deliver from the data they've got. There is an issue now we have in our different communities now. We think when you use you publish content in your local language, you feel like many people won't see it. And so you can speak French, you can speak Swahili, you can speak Wolof, but you will go to English because you feel like that's where you'll get a wider audience. But then we create content on English, and that data is going to feed English models, and it will help generate AI models in English. So one of the things I used to tell people is if you feel like there is this disparity, the only way we can solve it now, as of AI is not that far, it's still, okay, the hype is still new, and we can document our local perspectives on the internet. So it's about the data we put on the internet. So when you create content, you can make videos in your local language. You can publish articles in your local language, and that will help feed these models. One other thing, like we have seen use cases in countries like Rwanda in Africa, where they've managed to create a model that's they can ask the AI any question related to legislation, and it will give them answers and references, like this is in this bill, in this law, and is under which article. So what is happening is that they've got all their legislations in their local languages, but they were in paper based. So what they've tried to do is to create that data. They supported young entrepreneurs, actually young students, young startups, with hackathon and competition, and tell them, so you have to, build a data project where you take these local bills and you digitalize them, first of all, because that's the first point. You get them online. That's the second point. And then within the data, how can I say, within the data curriculum, within the data line, first, you need to have the data. Then there is what they call data cleaning. Some of the terminologies you see, they are not accurate. So they used to review that data, cleaning it to make sure it's accurate and can go to this platform. And after they've got the data on internet, now they can start training the models on that data. And trying in machine learning, we used to say accuracy of your model. So you're going to train your model, but sometimes it won't respond accurately. Most of the time, even we see sometimes ChatGPT that is really big can't respond accurately. So what we do is someone was talking about you ask a question and then the AI can't reply, but then you tell it the answer, and then next time when you ask it, will respond with the good answer. So that is one of the three types of AI, machine learning. The first one is, you give the answer. You said, this is a tomato. You give a picture of a tomato and you also tell it, this is a tomato. So when someone asks, it will say, this is a tomato. The other model is you give a picture of a tomato, you don't say anything, and then it will tell you, okay, this is a tomato based on what it has got on internet. The other way is you give it a picture of a tomato. It tells you it's an orange. You say, no, this is not an orange, this is a tomato. It's going to save the new data. Next time when you ask, to be more accurate. And this is actually the best way of learning. The same as our children, like you tell, no, this is not good. So next time, if I go this way, I may fall, this is not good. So next time is going to do it the proper way. So that's the same thing with AI. And when it comes to multiple languages, it's that the only way we can build strong AI models in our languages is by training it with the data we have. And so I really encourage us, when in your usual life, when you want to do your work and you feel like you can do it in a non-English language, do it. It's important, and we definitely will need at some point this very statement.
All right. Thank you. So, Atanasi, you made a very good point. I'm interested in some part, but I will still come back to you later. Let me see if Ida is online and it can unmute. You see, with the AI perspective, it also starts from the literacy aspect of AI. We can feel that there is a gender disparities within the AI and also the multilingualism, whereby maybe most females can speak very good and well understand their local languages. But the fact that these tools cannot be connected to their languages so that they can navigate the use of AI too. So it becomes very dividing when we are talking about AI. If Ida is there, maybe you can ask me, what do you think that we can do to close the gender disparity when it comes to the multilingualism and the use of AI? If Ida is not, maybe Clary can talk on that for us, because I know Internet Society also promotes gender equality and that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I don't think Ida's able to speak, so I'll speak on her behalf. But the Internet Society is deeply committed to bridging the digital divide, and including women in the internet space is a huge part of that. So we really are committed to making sure that women have access to trainings and they're able to gain all of the opportunities of the internet the same way. And a lot of that has to do with making sure that women have access to training, women have access to mentorship. There are a lot of studies that show that women who go into technical fields but don't have a mentor are less likely to complete whatever training they're doing and less likely to succeed in that field. So I think it's one of the issues that kind of piles on each other. So we need women in ICT, and we need so they can so they can mentor the younger fellows who are coming in and need a woman to help guide them through that process, because it is different to be in a male-dominated field like the technical community really is. And something else I want to mention that you mentioned before is that AI is great for the digital divide because it helps bring some people up, but it also very deepens it, because if you're in an area where your language is not represented on the internet, largely because you don't have like very good access in your area, you're not going to be able to use the benefits of AI either. So it compounds on itself very quickly, just as the issue of women in ICT does. And women do bring a lot of value and perspective to the field that is very necessary to keep it moving forward. And I look forward to even more organizations beyond just the Internet Society and PIAG working to bring more women into the field.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. And PIAG, we also promote gender equality. So we make sure that the selection of people to learn about these new language models and multilingualism, we tried as much as possible to get more people. Atanasi mentioned that Rwanda, as a country, has done a policy AI chat whereby people can get information on that. Now, Atanasi, to get back to you on that, and also as an engineer, because there's some also technical stuff I need to ask you so that we all learn. I want to go back to my people because it's an engagement we are doing with them. Do you think that, what has your country been able to do to develop maybe AI in terms of AI and multilingualism content? Has your government or your country been able to develop something out that you think that maybe the future? Because I quite remember on the Arabic side, I was hearing that there are some training models that they've been trained on data set. But is it for the government? And can someone share insight on the perspective country? Then we can come back to discussion to see what can be done. As Clary was mentioned, that beyond PIAG and ISOC, we can get other organizations to on board. So if anyone has contribution or question, what their government has been done, yeah, in terms of multilingualism.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Vlad Ivanits. I'm the youth ambassador of this year of the Internet Society, and I'd like to share my experience because I'm originally from Russia, and I know that we have like the local company which is quite big, like the big tech company Yandex, which is also working on the LLM model, and it is quite popular, I would say, probably not only in Russia but also beyond the country. And they really work hard on creating the competitive system, but they actually have some problems they encountering right now, and they said the internet lacking enough resources on the exotic languages, as they call it. And they're really worried that they will not be able to create the sufficient tool for the AI tool that will be based on these languages. And actually, they also say that they're running out of Russian resources, and it applies mostly to the high-level resources, because yes, you can find a lot of information online, but is it like qualitative enough? Like, can you really use it to build an effective model based on this? So they doubting this. And I think this is the question that should be addressed as well and discussed among us, like how can we encourage the local communities to produce better quality of the texts, and how we can empower them just to use AI systems and not be afraid of using it on their language, on their own like local language. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Very nice question, because that was the next question I was coming to also delve much into in terms of the culture, the dialect, and other aspects related to AI. As someone is saying that I greeted AI in Swahili, but the response is not as much as expected. So we see that the AI languages, because it has not been trained in Swahili, the culture and the dialect and the modalities within that kind of language is being changed. And as my fellow ambassador is also saying that in terms of losing the quality of data, because we believe that the communities have a lot of local content they can produce. But what I also see is that we see a lot of disconnection between the rural people and how they can bring that down, because people are not also connected. They don't have internet access. They don't have access to mobile. So the content creation in local language is also limited, and we can also look into that. Can I also have any other perspective in terms of some countries which are doing a work like how Rwanda is doing in terms of policy aspect, where people are giving the government is supporting AI multilingualism or promoting local content through AI? Is it some innovations that the youth have been able to brought board? Then we can move it to the next question for our speakers. Okay. Yeah, Clary has a something to share. Yeah, all right, Clary.
So I'm based in Amsterdam, but I don't sound like it because I spent most of my life in the United States. And there has been some amazing work done by the Navajo tribe, which is a tribe indigenous to the United States. And their language is disappearing. People, as new generations are growing up, they're not learning Navajo the same way their parents or grandparents did. So there has been a huge push among young people in the region to make sure that their language is protected through AI. So they're helping feed large language models through the documents and the text that they have to make sure that people who are learning Navajo in school are able to use ChatGPT in Navajo when they want to ask about their assignments, or if they want to know something about their cultural history, they're able to ask it in their native language. So, and because of that, I mean, language is so intrinsically connected to culture. So when you lose so much of your language, you end up losing your culture in parts as well. So I give a lot of credit to the Navajo Nation and the work of their young folks in making sure that their language is protected as generations go on and the schools in that neighborhood no longer teach that language. So that is one example of a community around the world that's using AI to make sure their language is not only preserved, but is usable and has effective use in the coming centuries, as it's probably going to happen that their schools no longer teach it.
Okay, all right, Clary. Let me come back to Atanasi. You mentioned that even in software engineering, you see that the data that we feed in AI is not that much in terms of multilingualism, and also the sources that we get those data, quality of data, as such. Even the language model in terms of developing local content on AI models, do you think that there is an open source software that has allowed that we can have that multilingualism in terms of development from your perspective?
Thank you so much. Very good question. Actually, it's very quick. You know what? These big AI models, we know they are developed in California. So what do you expect someone who is developing this system in California to put pidgin? How? So the idea here is innovation. And the only way we can innovate is by building our own systems. Yeah, many of these basic source codes are open source, like OpenAI. At the basis, it was open source. There is at the Emirates in Dubai, one research university is working on AI, if I recall. FA is like Faras. I don't recall the name in Arabic, but so basically what they're trying to do is to build a strong, because at least they've got enough data in Arabic, but then they try to build a strong AI model that is first based in Arabic. Now it has English, it has some other languages, but it was first based in Arabic. So you see, it's promoting their own perspective. So what I can say, if we want multilingualism, it's all about innovation. We need to build our own systems, and we have many of these resources. Like education in the past, it was all about going to big universities and you know learning all these big opportunities. But now through the internet, as Claire was saying, the internet is an enabling tool, and through the internet we can learn some of these things. Many of the software engineers you see today, they will tell you it 90% of their skills, they didn't learn it in university. So that is it. The internet is enabling us to do wonders. And so I can encourage, if you feel like you're interested in one of these fields, you'll find resources on the internet. Go on. You can start. There are many open source, even Gemini, the previous Google Bard, has a level that is open source that you can take and build it on something. We have a Congolese boy who tried to build on Gemini a certain model that, okay, um, our in our country the traffic can be terrible. So he's trying to see building on Gemini. So he doesn't really build the data set by himself, but he's building on the open source AI to take it on our own traffic now and try to see if we can find solutions to solve that particular problem. And it can happen. I'm hopeful that by the 2 or 3 years you will be able to come up with a strong solution. So that is one example. Some of the examples of the people are trying to leverage the open source resources. Another thing I could say is innovation is something. There is also this culture of loving what you do. I've seen a lady who studied economics in university, went to an MBA, but at some point I was asking her advices in code. She decided to start coding, and now she's very good. She's very good, and ended up some point learning a new language, and I'm like, oh, she knows this very well. It's not like she studied curriculum in tech, but she got access to you know different resources, and now she's good at it and she can do great. So I'm encouraging people, if you feel like you have the interest, you do what you can, and make sure you document your local perspectives, because that will really help in this inclusion, in this diversification. There is one thing, maybe when we talk about multilingual IDN, we call it technically IDN. It's non-Latin scripts on internet. Just a quick example. When you get on your email inbox, an email that is starting, I don't know, maybe let's say in Amharic, it's a name, arts, another script in Amharic dot something. You will definitely, when you see it, you will feel like it's a spam. First thing you'll be like, what script is this one? You'll be like, no, this is a spam. But we are talking about multilingual. So there are these other, we now have domain names that are in Arabic, in Russian, like even the Russian TLDs, they have a version that RU, they have a version in Russian. The same in many other countries. In Egypt, they have one in Arabic. We have some other one in Chinese. So sometimes when it comes also to multilingual, it's also about accommodating scripts that are non-English. And this technically speaking, it's a challenge to developers. So if many of the developers, that if you don't really increase the budget to accommodate this, they feel like it's an extra work. So there is this spirit of wanting to go global. You see, I have an e-governance platform I'm developing, and you want people to apply for visas in Guinea or in Djibouti. Doesn't you speak English or you use Latin script, but someone who is using non-Latin script, this start from left to right. So you see the email, instead of let's say Atanas at gmail.com, it will be .com, gmail at Atanas. And technically it's possible. They do exist. But then for me as a developer, I need an extra layer of work to accommodate this kind of of emails, of addresses on my platform. So but when I have an ambition to go global, I can say, I was talking about the e-governance. Some people will come to apply for visa to go to Djibouti, but your platform only accommodates scripts that are in English, they call the Latin script. Then someone who is from Bangladesh and is coming with I don't know, Bengali script, how will he apply? His email is just in that specific script. How would he apply? Would use your system, because he can't even log in, because it has to. You need to have a different email. So, but when you want to go global, you will be accommodating this kind of technology. You say, maybe now we don't have many users who are not from our country, but we expect in the next years we'll be having more people. So you design your systems with this inclusion in mind. That will really help us to get to the level of multilingual that we want to be to. Back to you, Fifi. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Atanas. Before you were saying that AI, and also Clary mentioned, without regulation from the perspective government, AI cannot be allowed to work functionally as how it's supposed to work in every country in terms of the multilingual promotion. Let me come to my people. If anyone have a question so far, then we will just wrap up with the last questions and answers to talk about in terms of AI regulation. Then we will just wrap up with a session. Do we have any question online or in the room or? Okay.
Well, I believe that to improve the language equity involves addressing different parts of the representation of it. So I
Excuse me,
grabbed here
can
some
you
points. That
mention your name and your?
Sorry.
Can you mention your name? Yeah.
I'm Kenley Kosa from Mozambique.
Okay, all right, thank you.
So I believe that to promote this language equity, I have some points here that I grabbed that could actually help to have these kind of all the cultural languages to be involved in this. So I have here by promoting multilingualism, which is encourage the learning and use of multiple languages in school and communities. I have here actually in Chase language access, which is ensure that the public services provide materials and support multiple languages. I have one more here, which is increase the representation of it. That is to promote the diversity in language and representation in literatures, media, and in academia. So just with these points, I believe that they can bring the language equity for all of us around the world.
Okay. All right. Do you have any question too? Yeah. Clary, what do you want to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to share that I really like that point that the audience member posed, because representation is such a big part of this. And when you have a group of people who are building a model that is supposed to be for the whole world to use, it is still being created in the context of the model builder's culture and language. So when we don't have people building models from their cultural and linguistic perspective, that means they're always going to be adapting to the other side. So as we're talking about us adapting to different addresses such as Amharic and the way that they would be reading differently, it's important to recognize how long they have been adjusting to us. So I just want to take a second to highlight that there are many people in the global minority who are, or the global majority, who are not able to use these systems the way they would like because it wasn't developed in their context. And that requires way more representation in academia, way more representation in the technical fields. So we have more cultures and more languages involved in creating these kinds of models.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Any question again? Okay. We have two people there. Okay. So from Abenet, then we go to Miriam.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much. My name is Abna Sintayo from Ethiopia. So the session title, it says AI for multilingual inclusion is mostly essential and inspirational for the country like Ethiopia, because Ethiopia have more than 80 nations nationally live together, and also more than 80 nation, 80 language will be spoken in that area. So my question is that within 80 language, more than 80 language, there is minority speaking language, and also the majority speaking language will be found in that place. So within the context of internet governance, promoting digital equity means ensuring different ethnic and linguistic groups are not left behind technological advances. So my question is that how can AI drive tool be tailored to support just particularly for undeserved or minority language speakers? Thank you.
Okay. Clary and Atanase, are you going to answer this first? So let me just also add on top of it's a very good question asking, because for Clary mentioned that internet society currently focus on Spanish, Arabic, English, then maybe French. So these are, when you take maybe let's say Central of Africa, we could see that we have about 5 or more countries who speaks French. When you come to West Africa, let's say my country, Ghana, Nigeria, other countries also speak English. When you go to the North Africa, Egypt, Libya, and other Morocco, they speak Arabic. So they are very okay with that. Within East Africa, Swahili is very dominating among Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and stuff. But even in Uganda, what I have experienced is that it's not that kind of basic language on there. They also have their own language. Now, Ethiopia is part of the East Africa, but they also have their own language that they are speaking. Now we are focusing in terms of when we group Arabic, French, Portuguese from Mozambique, Sao Tome, Angola, Cabo Verde. They are speaking Portuguese, but sometimes it's quite tricky and very different. These are group. So these are what he is classified as major languages, because when you pick Spanish, you can get about 5 or more nationalities that speak Spanish. When we take off French, you can see even in Europe, Africa, other countries is there. When we take off English, it's a very universal common language everywhere. So we are working on that. But there are some countries which have different language that they speak apart from English, which is they are also a national language that most of them are speaking, which means that we are not considering that as an inclusion because it is a minor language. And most focus are okay, getting people who can get about 5 to 10 countries who speak this language. So he's asking that based on that inclusion that we are talking about, are we also going to look out for these minor languages? Maybe let's say one country is also maybe about 2 million people in the country, or 20 million people are speaking the same language, but it's a minor language because no other country is speaking the same thing. So he want to understand that inclusion. So Atanasi, you can go, and then after that, Clary will also give the thought what internet society is also trying to do.
Thank you so much. Very good question, actually. I want to give you a perspective here. We have European countries like Slovenia, like Romania, and so on, who have a population of, less than 5 million people, but their languages are on Google, on OpenAI, and everything. And they have a strong foundation in their online presence. In the reverse, there are some countries, there are some languages like the Wolof, which is widely speaking more than more than 3 African countries. We have like the Hausa is spoken in more than 4 countries, and with like around 200 million people speaking that language. But if you're talking about main language in the sense of the population that speak Wolof may be bigger than the population that speak the Romania, blah, blah, blah. So the idea is here is not only, it's not really about the language itself, but it's about how you document your own language. So that what I was saying again, I encourage you to document your languages. The other thing is, after documentation, there is connectivity. At some point, Claire talked about it. There is a case in India, like 10 years ago, they were at the same level as many of the African countries, but they've got a solution. They have what they call a network of connectivity, fiber, and other alternatives. So the country is interconnected. They have the infrastructure in place. And we have seen when the infrastructure is there, the connectivity is there, their e-commerce is very high, is very highly raising. They are digital literacy. When you go to platforms, like you go to YouTube, if you want to cook, among the 10 videos you see, you find one Indian. You go to online platforms that are not the big one. If you want a certain thing, you find one. So the mobile banking and mobile money is widely used there. Why? Because the connectivity was there. And then definitely they will document, they will do business, they will try to do their agricultural activity helped by the internet because the connectivity is there. So I believe connectivity is very important for us to at some point get this because these applications are on the top of connectivity. We need to have connectivity. And what is the work of the Internet Society? Actually trying to empower communities and build community networks whereby a community by their own, when they feel like marginalized, they don't have the big ISPs, don't find business there, they can build their own access to the internet from their own, and by there they will be able to leverage all the benefits that come with connectivity. So that is one of the things that when you have the connectivity, definitely you document your perspective. And when you document we have the data and we can build AI models. We can build much more things.
Okay.
All
right. So, Clary, we are about to close because we have 4 minutes. Maybe 1 minute or 1.5, you can take this. We've seen Internet Society as an international organization, which we have it in various countries. Looking at collaboration, Internet Society is doing their part. Now, can you give us an understanding, because we have the government, industry, academia who do research in terms of, as Atanaso was saying, that there's some country that they did a research to see that, let's say India, we have to connect them first. And when we connect them, they can create the content on their local languages or even other languages. Now, the government, industry, academia has a role to play. And we all understand that we cannot do that without innovations and stuff. What do you think that in terms of collaboration, multilingual AI language development, what can we do? And you can share the perspective that all these organization, multi-stakeholder organization can do, and what Internet Society is doing to also support that, and what do you think that others can learn from that? Thank you very much.
Thank you. That's a great question. And I would like to start by saying that while we only cover those languages, the Arabic, Spanish, French, and English in our courses, we have over 100 global chapters around the world that are working with their local communities to try to solve their internet challenges, whether they have access or if there's regulation that is harmful to the internet. They are able to do all of their work in their local language because of that local component to it. So while we are official for our trainings is only those four, we really do in our broader community communicate in a much broader variance of languages. And of course, multilingualism in AI will make the internet much more accessible to everyone. You can't have AI without the internet. So we have amazing projects at the Internet Society which aim to connect the unconnected. We know that the remaining 2.8 billion are going to be the hardest to connect. So we're doing the best we can and working with amazing partners around the world to connect those communities to the internet, help give them training so they can continue to maintain their internet. And then beyond that, we're able to give them the skills to be able to communicate on the internet in their local language so there is greater representation. So it's a process. And as one organization, we only do what we can, but we hope that with the power of our chapters, our lovely alumni like you two, people who are in our courses and our fellowships, and just our greater community are able to help support us in that mission of making sure that all communities are connected to the internet so they have the ability to use their local content online.
Okay, all right, thank you. Does anyone have a question? So we are about to close, so they will say their final words. And Atanase, in your final words, just 1.5 minutes, you can also highlight on what we can do to improve AI development and research in terms of collaborating to advance AI in multilingualism. Then we will just, okay, yeah. Yes.
Okay. Should I present myself again?
Anyway.
Is Grace from Cameroon. Okay, as an ambassador for PAYAC, I have a question. Atanes mentioned about we document our languages. Can you explain how can we do it? Like, okay, from Cameroon, how can I help my fellow, or how can I help my, yes, the young people to understand that, okay, we need to gather our document. What should they do concretely to gather those documents?
Okay, thank you so much. Very good. Quickly, we've been having in the past libraries or easily what you can do, like let's say personally. Do you know your grandfather? Do you know their father and something? But if you reach out to some of your family, you can be able to gather specific data about your lineage or your lineage from, I don't know, some generations. And, you know, that is a valuable data you can't find anywhere else. So you'll be able to generate a certain information that nobody else can find in the world. And definitely your grandchildren, they'll find it as a resource. You get it. So there are other solutions are like we used to have our traditional musics. Most of the time during weddings, you see people singing all these musics, but now we are we are tending to forget all of them. But if you find you have them, you can say, I have a collection of old music, I'm going to have them, and you can upload it on a certain streaming platform. That would be data that people will be able to leverage on, and when people will be wanting to learn later on, they can build on that one. So we don't have time. I think if you need some more information from
it's giving. So we have some grants, and I can tell you that there are some projects that are digitalization of libraries. So you can take a look, and you can because you are not alone. There are many people on this. So, and sometimes the issue is that you don't know what to do, or you know what to do, but you don't have the funding to do it. So the Internet Society also helps you with this. So just for you to know that there are many people doing the same, trying to do that, and we can support you. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. So I was saying, yeah, if you you want to learn more definitely about PAYAG, about the Internet Society or some of the technical questions, we can definitely meet later on after this session and discuss informally because we don't have time now. So my parting remark, I would say, when we want to build AI and inclusion multilingualism in AI, what we need is innovation, and innovation will come by creating our own solutions to our own problem and trying to solve our own problems actually in using the digital technologies. Some of the our countries are experiencing, I don't know, flood or some other like volcanoes in my country, and so there is a perspective that no one else have experienced. So you can also create a solution that no one else have created. That's when innovation come into place too. Innovation is very important, and content creation and data collection. So we need to document. The internet is already there. We need to put on things. So document your expertise, document your life in a way that it can help the coming generation. Then there is one thing I was saying. There are challenges, but we need to be part of the solution. So there have been challenges when it comes to AI, when it comes to connectivity and all other aspects. So the only thing I can advise is let's try to be part of the solution, to include our languages, part of the solution to make ethical and inclusive AI solutions.
All right, thank
you so
you.
much.
Thank you, Atanasi, for that. And Clary, your final words, then we close.
My final words are thank you so much for everyone coming to this session. The internet is for everybody, but not everybody has access. So I think it's important that we have conversations like this on how we can use new and innovative tools to extend the reach of the internet and extend the accessibility of the internet. And I am so thankful to Atanase and Abraham, Fifi Selby, and being here and helping us guide through this conversation. And if you would like to hear more about how you can get more involved, I really encourage you to go to Alejandra, who will raise her hand. There she is. And she can tell you more about our amazing empowerment programs, which will train you to be the internet leaders of tomorrow, just like the two brilliant men who are on that podium.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Clary. And thank you, wonderful people, for joining. I have a gift for everyone, so no one should leave. We have a gift for everyone for this section, joining this section. Yeah, so our time is up, and we thank you for joining. And we thank Alejandra for also supporting this program. If you have a final word, just 30 seconds, then we can all leave. And we appreciate you for joining. We are very happy for this conversation. Thank you.
So just thank you. I want to say thank you to all of you. And this is an example of what we want to do at the Internet Society. We just give them tools, knowledge, some kind of like a program that it's from 6 months or to a year. And that's it. That's what we do. The rest is coming from them. They are the stars. So that's what I'm telling you now. We need you. So we are talking about multilingualism. We need people like you to go there to understand that if we don't move and if we don't act right now, it doesn't matter that we have like fundings, we have programs, we have support. At the end, your languages are going to die if you are not supporting them and leaving it. So think about it. You need to put all the things that you have online, defend your languages, and use all the tools that we have, like AI, to be sure that all these language live and they have future for our kids and on the future that we have. And as I said, everything is always depending on us. We are the power here and the internet needs us. So thank you so much. And thank you, the great speakers that we had. Please a round of applause. Thank you.
Then we are done. So I'll just have a seat. Then I will just give you. Is there? Yeah. We will have a picture. So